we are super excited to be bringing Bob Holmes as a regular guest, or host actually, on Advancing Your Photography. Bob, it is super great to have you on board with us. So let's talk about, how do you keep from plagiarizing yourself? And I think we've all run into that. You know, you just don't want to keep reshooting the same photo over and over again.
I don't know the answer to it, Mark, really. You know, I'm totally immersed in photography. I think it's 1972. The first photography gallery opened in England, which is the Photographers Gallery in London. And I made a pilgrimage there, and I found Edward Weston's daybooks. I'd never really heard of Edward Weston, but I discovered the daybooks and read them cover to cover. And you know, I was totally blown away by the possibilities. I go to art galleries a lot, and I find that very, very inspiring. And that's how I spend my time. I love looking at other visual mediums, and that helps hone your vision so that it can pull you out of this rut where you are plagiarizing yourself continually, and it helps you see things differently. And again, as you say, Mark, you're not copying. It's not a question of copying, but it just helps you see things differently, and then you impose your own style on that.
So what equipment were you using in Spain, Bob?
Well, traditionally, I've always been a Nikon shooter. And over the years, I've become increasingly feeble. So I can't carry the amount of equipment I used to carry, which isn't a bad thing. You know, up until recently, I was shooting with D4, D810, D850. The D4 just too heavy. Particularly,
it's a big camera.
It's a big camera. I always use the fastest lenses I can get. So, you know, the whole unit, God, it's unbelievably heavy.
Yeah.
And I didn't use any of the things on the camera. I could have used a point and shoot and got the same results most of the time. So as soon as Nikon came out with their Z series, I immediately bought a Z6 because I do quite a lot of video. And that's what I'm recording on now. And I love it. Absolutely fabulous. My only criticism is that there are not enough lenses available. Although I can use all my old Nikon lenses, but the new lenses are small, light. They do everything I want them to do. They're not fast. They're f4. The ones I'm using are f4, but nevertheless, I don't need that speed. It's nice occasionally for differential focus, but as far as capturing low light is concerned, the Z6 is a remarkable low light camera. I'm about to get a second one, so I don't know. I hate changing lenses. You know, one of the biggest problems with digital is dust on the sensor. Sensor dust is an absolute nightmare, particularly if it gets on the bottom of the sensor and then it appears in the sky, because obviously it's flopped. So people don't think to clean the bottom of the sensor, and that's the place to clean, because dust in the sky is immediately noticeable. And if you change lenses a lot, you're opening yourself up to dust getting in. You know, with two cameras, you can have a different lens on each camera and not have to worry so much about it.
Are there any tips for travel photography?
I think my biggest recommendation would be to keep it simple. I find the more simple the equipment I have, the better photographs I get. I'm not thinking about equipment, I'm thinking about the image. And the other tip would be to develop a routine. Check your ISO settings, check the format you're recording in, or whether it's JPEG or RAW. I always shoot RAW. Whenever I send a camera back for repair, it always comes back with factory settings, which is always JPEG from Nikon, and it drives me crazy because sometimes I don't think to check it, and I find I've done a whole shoot in JPEG, which can be disastrous. So always check your settings. Make it a habit to look at them. I think those would be my two best tips. But certainly keep things simple. Not only does it help you get better photographs, but it's easy to carry the gear. I like to travel as lightly as possible and carry the minimum amount of stuff, particularly these days. I never check cameras. I always carry them as hand baggage. That's essential. If your clothes go missing, fine, shoot naked. But if you don't have your cameras, then you're screwed. You know, it's not easy to go out and buy new cameras in a lot of places.
True dat. Well, Bob, hey, thanks for joining us and for being a part of Advancing Your Photography. So we're going to follow you around in all sorts of odd and interesting circumstances and give you a chance to just talk about whatever's going on, because we want to kind of bring that to the viewers, the reality of what it's like in a day-to-day world for a photographer. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of these future videos. And Bob and I would love to see your comments, your questions, things you'd like him to talk about. So make sure you leave them down here, and leave your likes as well. And will you please follow us both on Instagram? You'll see it on the screen where to go. The last thing I'm going to tell you is this: remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Thanks again, Bob.
Thanks, Mark. It's been great.